Hey, by heck, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, well, I've come now to the end of all my reviews of the Carry On films from the box set. This is Carry On Emmanuelle from 1978, the 30th film in this box set. And so we've been doing it for 30 weeks. 30 weeks we've been going through all these Carry On films, and we've reached the end. Oh dear. Yes. Well, let me just get on with it. Carry On Emmanuelle is a 88 minutes long film. It's 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's probably quite generous, actually. But yes, it's that bad. You know it, don't you? Everybody knows this. That's why. Well, I'll just get on with it. I've watched it and I'll review it. So, previously we had That's Carry On 1977, the Clips one, which was not really that good, was it? It was even put as a secondary feature. So now, they were looking for another, producer, distributors, and the production company was Hemdale. Everybody else had just had enough, I think. And let me just say that it was made on quite a big budget, really. Not really that big, but, a reasonable one. £349,302. So that's rather a lot of money. And the box office, it made £48,003. Oh, yes. I'm surprised it made that much. But as you can see, it's a flop. This really killed the whole series. This was it. Yes. Now, it's written by Lance Peters. Yeah, we'll talk about the script a bit later. Not too much later. It's produced, as usual, by Peter Rogers and directed by Gerald Thomas. And then when you look at the cast, you tend to think, oh, they're not in it. Well, let's see who is the regulars. There are a few regulars in it, yeah. Kenneth Williams, he now tops the bill. He plays Emile Prevert. He's the French ambassador. Then we've got Kenneth Connor back, Leyland, Jack Douglas, Lyons. He's very disappointing in this film. He's in it, and he's not the Jack Douglas we've known. Just something subdued about him, just not the same. As is all the cast, even Kenneth Connor, there's slight bits there of him, but it's not the same. Yeah, sadly, in many ways, I think, is looking at Joan Sims. She plays Mrs. Dangle, and even she doesn't look quite now. And you know how much I love Joan Sims. She tries her best, but what can you do? What can you do? It's tired now. And even Peter Butterworth doing his normal routine doesn't quite. It just doesn't work. He plays Richmond. Then we've got, well, the one who's, I suppose, billed as the star with Kenneth Williams is Suzanne Danielle, who plays Emmanuelle, his wife, yes. Now, she was involved in a few films, I noticed. She was involved in Arabian Adventure from 1979, which was a fantasy. Um, she was with Christopher Lee. Again, but a lot of these roles weren't that big. A background, in fact, was very much as a dancer in theatre and what have you. She was in Flash Gordon. Probably if you blink, you might see it. But she's in Flash Gordon from 1980, which is a great film. Now, from my point of view, she was in a Doctor Who story, Destiny of the Daleks from 1979. This was the 17th season story. It was the first one. And it's a good Tom Baker story, the Fourth Doctor. And because I'm reviewing these now, she is in a Hammer House of Horror. Yeah. Carpathian Eagle from 1980. It's a story I haven't done yet, but that will be in the line. Apparently she's in that. It'll be interesting to see her in that role. I don't know how big it is or whatever, but anyhow, she's in that. And so therefore, there's a lot on her to carry this film. And yeah, we'll go into that. More of the cast. We've got Larry Dan playing Theodore Valentine, who's this sort of drippy kind of character. He was apparently in a few Carry On films. Carry On Behind, which we saw all the latter stages, 1975. It was in Carry On England. Oh dear, yeah, 1976. And apparently, a bit of trivia, he was in Carry On Teacher, playing a schoolboy in 1959. So there is a Carry On link there with him. And now I didn't know this, but and I know the program was very popular. The Bill, from 1984 to 1992, he played a key character in the series. So there you are. That was a big series for ITV, The Bill was. Then we've got another actress who you might recognise, Beryl Reid. Yeah, Beryl Reid plays Mrs. Valentine. Again, it's not a massive role, it's there. Beryl Reid is very interesting. Lots of different film roles going way back. In the 60s, she became sort of more prominent. A film that is very sort of well known for in many ways was Killing of Sister George, award-winning 1968, where she played a lesbian. And it was quite a groundbreaking film at the time. She was also in a film that I found very interesting, The Assassination Bureau from 1969, which has Oliver Reed and Dinah Reagan. Yes, she was in that. She was in the Joe Orton play Entertaining Mr. Sloan, 1970. That's quite a big film from the play, adaptation onto a film. Then she was in The Beast in the Cellar, which is a Tygon horror film from 1971. And then, of course, we get there again. You know it's going to come. Doctor Who. She was in perhaps one of the classic stories from the Peter Davison Fifth Doctor era, Earthshock, the Cybermen. Oh, it's a really important story in terms of Doctor Who history. Earthshock. She's in that, and that was from the 19th season. Yeah, fantastic story. And then you've got a face you know straight away. I only have to say it's Henry McGee. He plays Harold Hump. Again, it's just not a Lazar. Many of these roles are very short. And of course, he was a figure you recognise straight away if you watched television in the 1970s right through into the 80s. He was, of course, the Benny Hill Show. He was in the Benny Hill Show. Oh, it's there. A figure that you recognise, his voice and everything introduced in the show. Everything. it was all Henry McGee there. Yes, he was all part of that. And that is like an era in itself, all the Benny Hill comedy. Um, then we've got another face that you might recognise. Again, not massive roles, but is Victor Madden. He plays this fairly brief scene, the man in the laundrette. He was in a British horror film that people think perhaps, oh, that's a Hammer film, but it's not. It wasn't a Hammer film. That is Blood of the Vampire from 1958. Yeah, that's really good. Then he was in a few Carry On films. He was in Carry On Constable 1960. He was in Carry On Regardless 1961. Carry On Spying 1964. And Carry On Cleo 1964 as well. Yes, he was in those. Then, a film that I've just reviewed. It wasn't a big role, but he was in Bunny Lake is Missing. That's one with Laurence Olivier, and that's her 1965. What a film that is! Wow. Then he was in a film that I really like as well, which I remember seeing at the time. He's in a role in the Steptoe Son film, 1972. And then, yes, we have to have a link, but this is an interesting one, a Doctor Who. He is in Fury from the Deep, 1968, second Doctor story, Patrick Troughton. Unfortunately, it's the one, there's quite a few Patrick Troughton ones, that there is no episodes whatsoever on this one. All the episodes are missing. It's so sad, but there we are. He was in that. Wouldn't it be good if we could find some more of these missing episodes? Yes. What is this film about? Well, really, you put it down to it. It's a parody of the Emmanuelle films. Husband is a French ambassador. That's Kenneth Williams. And she has lots and lots of sexual encounters with about everything that moves, any man that moves. And it's all, the story is sort of heading towards that there's a government scandal, also establishment figures are all involved in the sexual scandal with her, and she goes on TV, admits it all, and it's all in the newspapers, and that's it, really. It's all, but the script is very badly written. The jokes don't work well. It's interesting that a certificate, it got an AA, and you don't feel it as a carry-on film, even though you've got these carry-on films that are. You can say it's more reminiscent of like the confession kind of films that were issued at the time, the X-rated confession films. So this is but it's a most explicit carry-on film we've seen in terms of the jokes, which are often very flat and not very good. The music as well. The music, as I say, is by Eric Rodgers, but there's this annoying song that keeps coming on. And there's a whole feel of the music. Even the location, which I love seeing location work, going round London, is just doesn't really work. As I said, we had the Pinewood Studios, and then we got like Wembley, Trafalgar Square, Oxford Street. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to. I don't know. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't feel right as a carry-on film. And it was filmed actually not very long, 10th of April to 15th of May 1978. Around the time I was just about to embark on my A-levels. Yes, and oh dear. What can I say? It's a sad way to end this whole series. Very sad. And it effectively killed the series off. It's that bad. Yeah, I'm afraid it is. It's just, I can't say much in its favour at all. Apart from maybe just those looking at the 60s locations in London, but just I don't know. It doesn't feel like a carry-on film. It doesn't, even though there's the people involved. It doesn't feel like a carry-on film. That's very sad, isn't it? Very sad, and it's the end of this series. And as I killed it, no, I was saying we have got Carry On Columbus, which is considered a bad one as well. Is it as bad as Carry On Columbus? I don't know. I'm not going to get hold of Carry On Columbus, but that's it. This is the end. So we'll just end now, literally, as one final look at the box set, which, if you've not seen it, is well worth getting. So much. You know, I mean, most of the films on here really are very entertaining and great. It just peters out right near the end. But generally speaking, this is such an enjoyable series. It really is. And that's it. I've enjoyed doing it. And it's the end. In a way, we've got there, and I'm really pleased that we've got there. And yeah, that's it really. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and we'll let you know when I produce videos, and you can look up playlists and see when I do them all. If you like this video, please give it a like. It gets out onto YouTube algorithms. If you've got any comments as well, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments, and it all costs note. You can't say fairer than that. So all I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.